Doug Kezerian with us of ESPN. We're live from Bristol thanks to Taylor Tech Security, TaylorTechLLC.com. Doug, you do it all, man. You're a very versatile dude. Sports Center, NBA Tonight, College Game Day on ESPN Radio. We'll hear you this Saturday afternoon right here on 104.5 The Team. What's the best gig out of all of them? And you do more than that.
They all, I mean, that's the beauty, is it's the variety of it all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. So I've always wanted throughout my career, anywhere I've been. By the way, thanks for having me.
Dude,
Well, just get right into the questions.
This is cool.
This is awesome. I
I'm
appreciate
fundamental radio guy. Just jump in. Just go.
Don't waste time. Go.
It's funny. I did that with a guest a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, good to be on here." I like the variety. I think it's definitely challenging, right? Like if I just did one sport per se, I could obviously be better. I mean, you'd know the even more nuances of every team or whatever like that. But I think it's just fun and keeps it fresh every day. And, it's typical of me, commitment issues, right?
Finally, a guest who speaks my language.
You guys are, I feel like, it's Doug and I had the previous connection, but I feel like you guys now are going to have the...
Right, we're finally speaking each other's language.
Yeah.
Now, you big hoop guy?
Definitely. Grew up in L.A. during the Showtime era.
Okay.
Lakers are my first true love. All my older brothers...
sorry about that, by the way.
I'm the youngest of five, so all my brothers had the remote control. And I just, I never watched cartoons. That's one of my claims to fame.
Oh, wow. No Sesame Street either, huh?
Nothing.
You have problems spelling to this day.
I slept in and would just watch sports.
Wow.
Well, all right, Lakers. I'm sorry about the Lakers.
You know what? Look,
are they going to fix it? How do you
won
fix
like 12 titles in my lifetime. I can't really complain.
Oh, see, you guys are going to fit in together.
I'm a Yankee fan.
His pinstripe pants brings up 27 every 27 seconds.
And I've gotten to the point where I'd rather be right than have my team win, and I've said the Lakers will not win another title in my lifetime.
Really? No, come on, they have to fix it before that.
How many franchises have won a title since mid-'90s?
Are you just setting the expectations low so you don't break the little Doug Kezerian heart?
It's just so many things have to go right, and there's usually dynasties.
Right.
So you have to win the lottery when it's an Anthony Davis and not an Anthony Bennett, right?
Right.
And then you have to have the right free agency execution. You have to have the right partnership between coach, general manager, and ownership. And then you just have to get lucky. Like the Phoenix Suns got unlucky all those years with Steve Nash. So even when the stars do align, they don't. And then that's why you see teams go on runs, like the Spurs over a consistent amount of time. The Heat, when they had LeBron, they could have kept going if he stayed. So I just think so many things have to go right. And when I don't have a lot of belief right now in Lakers ownership, and then it's just too hard. And Kobe, Shaq, that stuff's just not going to happen. And that mystique, that competitive advantage they had with L.A., blah, 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 and all that, it's all gone. It's a level playing field. It's just funny that Laker fans this past summer actually thought LaMarcus Aldridge was going to sign there. Think about it now if Aldridge was on that garbage team. Yeah. They had no chance.
So, all right, so who wins one first, L.A. or New York?
Knicks. I actually think Phil Jackson's done. That's a great question, first of all. But I think Phil Jackson's done a really nice job. His number one objective when he got to town was to re-sign Carmelo. He did that. And then he's just cleaned up the books. The Robin Lopez contract was nice. The Aflalo contract was nice. Got rid of Felton. Got rid of the other bad eggs and bad contracts. Bargnani's gone. So you can't help it overnight.
Right.
This isn't Michigan football, right? So you can't just bring in a Jim Harbaugh. It's the contract variable, whereas the Lakers keep digging themselves in a bigger hole. Now the Kobe thing, obviously that's last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Buss re-signs him either. So I love the Porzingis draft pick, and just little things like Greek Freak's younger brother, he convinced to turn down more money to go overseas, and then the new practice facility. Now, I don't know if Derek Fisher and the Triangle are the right answer, but remember, his first choice was Steve Kerr, and so he clearly knows what he's doing. I think he's been efficient and effective with the books. Now, it remains to be seen what happens down the road, but I think he's done more with less than the Lakers have.
ESPN's Doug Kezerian. You'll see him tonight on NBA Tonight, and this weekend you'll hear him on 104.5 The Team on College Football Game Day. So you believe that you can win a championship building a team around Carmelo Anthony? How?
I've always felt Carmelo was good enough to be the best player on a championship team. Go back a handful of years, I believe the first year of Mike D'Antoni when they had Chauncey Billups, that team beat the Heat I think it was the Heat's first year, so it was 2010, 2011 season, and then Billups had that injury, couldn't give it a go in the playoffs, and then they lost to the Heat. But I think Melo, at his prime, could have been the best player on a championship team. Let me put it this way. If Melo and LeBron switched places, those Miami Heat years, you don't think Melo could have won a title with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and the pace and space offense that the Heat had.
He's okay with those guys? He gets
Is there
along
enough
with those guys?
basketballs to go around? Or?
I think he would have been just fine. Remember, Melo shined on that Olympic team, and he played D. Now, I think the injuries have caught up, the miles have caught up, but I also say this about Melo because people were talking like, hey, maybe a Melo for Derrick Rose trade. I think that's horrendous for the Knicks, not because I don't think Melo is better than D. Rose, but New York eats you alive. Melo proved from day one he could handle the spotlight. He is the same player he was in New York that he was in Denver. You see this with Yankees, right? A lot of guys go there, they struggle their first year because of the spotlight and the media. Derrick Rose would get eaten alive. Even in his hometown of Chicago, he has so many dumb comments that just get escalated, right? It would be 10x in New York.
Wow. Interesting stuff, man. ESPN's Doug Kezerian. We're live from Bristol. I've been here all day. We're going to be going live till 7 o'clock tonight. Doug, you're just getting started, too.
I just got in. I had a quick meeting, and I have a show meeting coming up, top of the hour, 6 p.m., and then we got NBA Tonight later. I don't even know who the analyst is, whether it's Brad Doherty or whoever it is. I'll find out at the show meeting.
That's
cool.
But
then it's fun. You go to the green room, you watch games, you listen to them, you get some stories along the way.
Yeah.
And then showtime at 1:30.
You've been here at ESPN for 3.5 years. Craziest story from being on the ESPN campus. Most bizarre thing that's happened.
I think it was like my first couple months. It's surreal. It's like the commercials. We don't have mascots in the elevator, but you are walking on campus, and the commercials portray this is where sports happens, and you definitely get that vibe. I remember being in the cafeteria line, and Kurt Schilling, who I haven't even met yet, asked me, "Have you tried the pasta yet?" Things like that. And I was like, "Hey," but how about this? My buddy was washing his hands at the restroom. Lou Holtz comes out the restroom in the bathroom and is washing his hands.
Shit ain't show.
And we're talking about Lou Holtz here,
yeah,
right? Turns to him and goes, "You know what the soup of the day is?" Because he was on his way to the calf.
That sounds so Lou Holtz.
I mean, it's just, and then I was putting something out. It was the day Michael Crabtree, when he was on the Niners, tore his Achilles. And there's Jerry Rice. Jerry, effing Rice. Right? Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just, I go to him because I was writing a story about Crabtree, and I figured he knew. And I told him about the Achilles. I'm like, "Hey, what's your take on the Achilles injury with Crabtree?" And he said, "Look, that was the one area that I babied. I just did not, because once that goes, it goes. So anytime it was a little tender, iced it, took off, he babied the Achilles throughout his career. And as we've seen with guys, especially in their latter parts of their career, that's the one that goes. It's overusage. That's all it is."
Wow. All right, so here's my cafe story from the Bristol campus. Mm-hmm. This makes Raiders fans so mad.
Drives me nuts.
So last year we were here, and we were getting lunch, and I'm in the line, and the guy next to me knows what he's doing. I want this, and I go, "Mashed potatoes, corn, or green beans?" "Oh, mashed potatoes the way to go, man. You got to go." So then we have a great conversation about what makes mashed potatoes good, why the corn is pretty good, and then, green beans third. And then he walks away, and I told Levack, I go, "Man, that guy over there was great, dude. He told me to go mashed potatoes. You should go." And Levack's response was,
"That's Eric Allen."
It's EA. Yeah. He's a great dude. I talked to him a bunch. We always talk. He's crazy that I know the Raider game. He mentioned a game guarding Peyton Manning, some game that I knew exactly what it was. It was like 98.
You're a Raiders fan?
Huge Raiders fan.
Holy hell, you guys really should do a show together. This is ridiculous. It's a vibe right now. And, of course, we have the former Oakland Raider, Derek Brown, standing behind us like the monster he is, just staring at us right now, wanting to eat us.
I grew up in L.A., so of course I love the Raiders.
Right.
But it was the Jay Schrader days. Marinovich.
There was some troubled days in between. Schrader, Hostetler, Marinovich. There's a laundry list of guys that weren't going to get it done, and then all of a sudden, somehow, Rich Gannon becomes an MVP quarterback under John Gruden.
I know, and then EA and I mope about the tuck rule.
Yeah.
But it was officiated properly, as stupid as that sounds.
But it was so great too.
Levack still mopes about it, by the way.
I will. Well, because they stole it. I mean, they stole it. And
Raiders had a chance to convert a 4th and 1, or stop them on 4th and 2.
And they would have. And the Raiders would have been like a 14-point favorite over the Rams. I'm just putting it out there.
Right, but they had,
in the Super Bowl.
We'll see what would happen. I don't know. It's just look. Again, we've been spoiled. We can't win them all.
ESPN's Doug Kezerian.
I got Kurt Gibson's home run. I got Marcus Allen's cutback. We got a lot of good ones in our lifetime.
Doug Kezerian of ESPN, Sports Center anchor,
all
NBA
over the
Tonight.
Center too, right?
Yeah. You got the Pod Centers going on, too?
Yeah, filling in Chad Millman's Behind the Bets a little bit, hence my Vegas background. I lived in Vegas 6.5 years. Worked for ABC, did some radio out there as well before coming here.
Now, Levack's been pretty good on the money recently, too.
I think I'm laying the points tonight. I'm just putting it out there.
What did you hit when we were at the Giants game 2 weeks ago?
I put together a $2 8-team parlay. I pushed one, so I hit a 17 parlay on $2. Cashed. It was a nice little payday.
Fictitiously speaking, of course.
Yeah, of course. You know, it was a friend of mine. I called in Vegas, told him what to do.
That's actually federal offense, so you don't want to say that.
I didn't do that.
You
either.
advised him. You advised him.
I said, hey,
I recommend
I was
you
ever
do
going
this.
to do such a thing.
See, he really does have your back. You guys really are a great combo, man.
I'm getting in a car.
All right, get out of here. This weekend, College Game Day, you're hosting it. How cool is that to go to a different
on radio
college?
for those?
Right, on radio, sure.
I'm not Reese Davis.
On 104.5 The Team. How cool is it to go to different college campuses every weekend?
You know, it's great. It's you get a little desensitized throughout your career. I've turned down going to games here and there, but like this is different. I'm going to my first SEC game earlier this year in Baton Rouge, LSU hosting Auburn. This will be my second one, obviously a bigger game, Tuscaloosa. Great atmosphere, and it's just awesome. It's a 7-hour show, and for us that are passionate about what we do, the prep is endless, and you actually get out what you put in. Sometimes it's you prep a bunch of hours for like a 6-minute hit at halftime of a big show or whatever it is. Random jobs I have, and it's you're over prepped. You got to be prepared, but you just leave something you leave a lot on the bone there. But here you get exactly what you put out. You get out what you put in, and it's just rewarding from a professional standpoint. And then it's just cool being a sports fan, being at these marquee games on the field too.
Alabama number 4 overrated?
100%.
Really?
It's a travesty.
Why?
Who should be there?
Like a list of like 6 teams.
Oh, I love this guy.
It's not power ratings.
Like maybe 1 or 2 Big 12 teams.
Now, look, if you want to base just resume, I'm actually slightly okay, even though I think Baylor, pre-Seth Russell injury, is the best team in the country.
Right.
But like this whole eye test thing, Alabama does not pass the eye test. They're garbage on offense, and even the special team isn't that great.
Adam Rittenberg this week, we had him on of ESPN, and he was like, "You should see them practice. They're so good at practice and warm-ups."
But like, I could do an hour show on the myth of the SEC. It's just a joke. Last year, if we had the BCS system, Florida State would have played Alabama. Why Alabama with 1 loss gets to go over every other 1-loss conference championship? Why the Pac-12? Just over the years, and this whole they've won 8 straight championships or whatever. That's nonsense. Last year was the Big Ten the best conference?
No, not even close.
But they won the title.
Right.
2 years before that was ACC the best conference?
Who?
But they produced they produced the champion.
Right.
So producing the champion doesn't mean you have the best conference. Now they had different teams and there's a string, but half the time they're playing in them. That's why they're winning. They got the benefit of the doubt, and that's what's so annoying. It's Alabama. Alabama, what's like their big win? Georgia? Georgia's awful.
Right.
Now, they played them when they had Nick Chubb, so they're a little better, but Georgia's best win this year is what? Missouri 9-6 at home? They beat Tennessee 14-9. Like, it's ridiculous. And they're like, well, you have to play someone and you have out-of-conference wins. True, but what did we learn all last year? What did we hear? That head-to-head has to matter, right? I.e., losses have to matter. Why doesn't Alabama losing at home to a 2-loss team not matter?
You're kicking so much ass right now, I can't even tell you.
In an 8-game schedule,
awesome.
At the end of the year,
Completely
if
agree.
they have an LSU win and a conference title and all that, then maybe. But like they're not passing the eye test, and they lost at home to a 2-loss team. And if you want to say Alabama, they'd be undefeated with Baylor's schedule too, right? Oh, maybe, probably. I would say yes. What if they had TCU's schedule? Sure. But you know what? We definitely know that they wouldn't be undefeated with
their schedule.
Memphis' schedule.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, here's my question though. Do you think that they do put a team like this in, knowing that we're going to go crazy? We're going to talk about it all the time.
No, I think they have drinking the Alabama Kool-Aid.
Really?
I really think that it's. Look,
it gets sorted this week. Alabama plays LSU. It gets sorted.
Okay, so they'll have finally a big win
or a loss.
But
be gone.
Right? But like, how is? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, why should Alabama be ahead of Notre Dame? Why should even that? Why should
By the way, DB went to Notre Dame.
Why should Alabama be ahead of Florida? They play the mutual opponent
quarterback
at home. Well, no, time out. You're analyzing.
Right. Well, I know.
Resume on paper.
Right.
Alabama and Florida played the exact same opponent.
Right.
Florida destroyed them at home. Alabama lost at home, never trailed. And here's my funny. I got a kick out of this narrative. Well, I mean, look they had turned the ball over 5 times and they almost won. They should be penalized for the 5 turnovers. That's not good football.
I feel like he should be an energy drink, man. This is awesome.
Ridiculous, just the stupidity. Because here it is, and I've been trying to figure out the analogy, and I was going to talk about this Saturday, and I'll talk about it now. It's the whole football season's like a murder mystery TV series that's like 30 episodes.
Yeah.
And we only get to watch 12 or 13 of them. and it's just an incomplete season, right? Because the nature of the sport, every other sport, you have people playing each other, you have a lot of volume of games, everything like that. So you have like half the season and half the episodes, you're trying to figure out who did it. And then all these people are passionate about this because they have 2 facts and like 6 kind of like wishy-washy facts. And another group thing, it's just like, it's discombobulated, and the people get so hell-bent on their team because they're passionate, and that's great, but they have such tunnel vision and blinders, they refuse to accept another way of looking at it, and they just grab, and that's why you hear the term confirmation bias. You're just grabbing facts and grabbing things to back up your claim, but you're just completely ignoring other people's 100% facts.
ESPN's Doug Kezerian.
Yes,
Dude's on fire, man. At Doug ESPN on Twitter. He's greatness. You can see him all over ESPN, including this Saturday on ESPN Radio, College Game Day, live from Tuscaloosa. You can hear it right here on 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio. And Doug, to pull the curtain back a little bit, candid story here. The reason why you and I are Twitter buddies, I guess you could call us. The reason why you're here today is because I reached out to you about a year ago and I said, hey, you're Armenian, Kezerian. I'm Armenian. I'm Armen. And then we became like Armenian buddies, high five. And then I bugged you a year later and said, hey, you want to come on my radio show?
As my agent said, he's a member of the tribe.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's cool. No, honestly,
is there a handshake I need to know? Or?
Handshake?
Yeah, is there?
Armenian handshake. There's not. There's rice pilaf that's really good.
Oh, yeah.
There's lamb.
Yeah, all this food that, like, to the unknown is like Greek. There's so much overlap, obviously, with different cultures and the Middle Eastern cultures as well. There's so much overlap with pilaf, tabbouleh, all that stuff.
Budegs.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know? So good. Good stuff.
You speak the language,
guys, man.
the actual native tongue, and the other language as well.
So your grandparents, did they like yell at each other in Armenian, like when they were mad at each other?
My parents, not mad, but they would speak in Armenian when they didn't want us to hear. Me and my brothers.
Oh, that's tricky. So are you fluent in Armenian?
No, 0. I know like I know yes, no, hi, and like 9 cuss words.
Okay, me too. Me too. Me too. Same thing.
I feel like I'm missing out on the cuss words.
I thank my grandparents for that. And my grandfather used to always yell at my grandma, "Tanone," which means I do good work. No, all the time. Tanone. Like she would scream at him, and he would just go Tanone. Just yell at each other. ESPN's Doug Kezerian. Dude, you're the best, man. At Doug ESPN. Fantastic. Enjoy NBA tonight. Watching on ESPN, and then College Game Day Radio, 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio this weekend. Safe travels to you, man. And thanks so much for spending time with us.
And if I don't make it out of Tuscaloosa alive, say good things about me.
SEC bias. We'll remember. We'll have this interview for the rest of your life, man. So don't you worry about that.